Hello, this is Sadashiv Fadnis, Product Marketing Manager for Rubidium signal generators here at Anritsu. In this video, I'll be explaining various trigger mechanisms available in Rubidium's pulse train option. If you would like to learn more about Rubidium's pulse train option itself, please look at video titled Generating Pulse Train, option 25, published previously. Wide variety of trigger mechanisms available in Rubidium's pulse train option enable users to generate long periodic and non-periodic pulse patterns. Such pulse patterns are very useful for many measurement applications, including testing radar warning receivers. This video has 4 parts. Part 1 explains the setup and the free running trigger mode. The second part explains single step and single sweep trigger modes. Part 3 explains breakpoint and multiple sweep trigger modes. Part 4, the concluding part, explains various trigger sources and how to combine them with trigger modes to generate periodic and non-periodic pulse patterns. So let's explore the next triggering mechanism. But before I choose the next one, let me go switch off and then go back to trigger mode. So let's explore the next mode, which is called breakpoint. What is this breakpoint? In order to explain that, let's visit the list screen again. You see a column here which is called BP. This is the breakpoint column, right? Now when you click on one of the columns here, when you click on one of the bursts here, the breakpoint is enabled for that burst, and if you choose the breakpoint trigger mechanism, once you trigger using the trigger sweep, the signal generator is going to output all the bursts until it reaches the breakpoint. So in this case, it will output burst number 0 and burst number 1, and it will stop there. And then when you click on trigger sweep again, then it will output the remaining bursts, and on, right? So it will output all the bursts until this breakpoint, and then it will continue until the end of all the bursts that are defined, and then again come back, and then it will stop at the breakpoint. So let's look at that. So let me go back to trigger. We have chosen breakpoint. We are going to stay with single source. And then let me get it down so that we can observe what's going on the spectrum analyzer screen. And then we go to setup, and then I'll enable the pulse train, and then go back to trigger, and then I'm going to trigger once. Okay, so what you see on the spectrum analyzer screen is 3 50% duty cycle pulses and then 11 narrow pulses. And let's look at what we have defined here. This is your 50% duty cycle burst, and this is your 11 narrow bursts, and it has stopped here right now because I have put a breakpoint here. And then when I go back and then click trigger sweep again, the last burst is output, and it's going to stop again. And if you click on the trigger sweep again, then it will wrap around and output these 2 bursts and stop here, right? So there you go. So the first 2 bursts, and then the last burst, the first 2 bursts, and then the last burst. So this is what breakpoint does. Breakpoint is essentially, you can define a breakpoint, your own breakpoint, and and signal generator is going to stop at your breakpoint. It's going to stop generating the bursts at your breakpoint. So we can try with another breakpoint here, this one, and let's say I disable this and apply. Right, so in my very first burst there is a breakpoint here, and the other two will be continuously output. Right, so let's go back and let's trigger. This is my first, and it stopped here. Right, and then my next, the other two bursts, and then it stopped here, the first and the other two. So you can define, let's say you have more than 2 entries, let's say you have 5 entries, you can define any breakpoint in between, just to stop and look at what the device under test response is at that point.